Welcome back, everybody. My name is F. Dan Rivera. Today is June 7th, 2018. And I want to start off with this question. Do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Then do me a favor. Just don't shoot the messenger. And the messenger is myself. Today I want to talk to you guys a little bit about thought. I want to talk about mental illness. A couple of years back, and I believe it was through one of my mentors who recommended that I read a book titled As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Now, this book was written, I believe, in 1906, about 100 years, a little over 110 years. And in that book, I was made aware of where all sickness begins. And when I'm talking about sickness, I'm talking about physical and mental sickness. And just to kind of speak into this, first of all, what is mental sickness? What is mental illness? I took a look at the World Health Organization, and they had a lot to say about mental illness. And what I really took out of this, of mental illness, is that mental illness, in short, is really the inability to deal with life's challenges and to be able to move forward whatever life may throw at you. The inability to deal and to cope with life's challenges. And I would recommend you all to do a little bit of research on the World Health Organization. Go over and take a look of what mental illness is. Mental health, on the other hand, is the ability to deal with life's challenges, to find a way forward regardless of whatever life might throw at you. And as we already all know, life is just full of challenges. You know, we really live in a fallen world, and there's nothing we can do about it. You know, we have laws of gravity. If you jump off of a building and you have no parachute, as you can imagine, something's going to happen, right? You're going to get hurt. So there is physical laws, there is spiritual laws, there is invisible law, just like all the laws of electricity. We can't see them, but they're still there. And we have to understand that life is full of challenges. If you break the law, also, you can expect that there's going to be a consequence. So getting back to this mental illness is the inability for somebody to deal with life's challenges and to move forward past that and to, basically to get ahead. And when I was reading this book, As a Man Thinketh, I became very enlightened because I had never realized what a lot of the problems were of why we become sick. And so I just wanted to touch a little bit on what exactly is. It says, disease and health, like circumstances, are rooted in thought. Think about this. Sickly thoughts will express themselves through a sickly body. And we all know that thoughts of fear make us sick, right? Distress make you sick? It does make you sick. I think we all can agree on that, right? If you stress out enough, eventually you can give yourself a heart attack. The other day, I have so many different things going on in my life. I mean, I had one person calling over here at an appointment I was running late to, and the traffic was just, look, I live in Los Angeles, and traffic is getting out of control. If you live in LA, you know what I'm talking about. Driving up that 405 freeway, it is just getting crazier and more congested each and every day. And I was running an hour late to an appointment after a very long and busy day. And I can literally feel the stress and the thought of What time am I going to get there? What time am I going to get there? What time am I going to get there? Starting to really increase my pulse until I felt like I was about to have a heart attack. So thoughts ramp up our heartbeat, or they lower our heartbeat, right? Many of us work on meditation just to do what? To control our body, to have our body under control. So thoughts show up in our physical health. Can we agree on that? So the author was saying that disease and health, like circumstances, are rooted in thoughts. And I'm sure you would agree that you've seen many times people who are so hard up on the belief that they're going to get sick that they actually get sick. I have my daughter and I are always into this thing about, what's going to get me sick? If I eat that, I'm going to get sick. I'm going to eat that, I'm going to get sick. And so, I'm Mexican. I grew up in a home where we ate a lot of different things, right? And these things were not bought on and taken off the shelf at Albertsons. Matter of fact, I didn't even get to know Albertsons until my late 20s. But because I've always understood that sickness can happen, I've always gotten in the habit of, eating things that most people would be nervous to eat, like oysters. I'll chuck these oysters down, and I'll drink every night. I'll drink some milk because I have a belief, which is a thought, that if I were to eat or drink milk and drink oysters, that I'm going to make my metabolism or my digestive system a little bit stronger by always, throwing a little bit of a shocker inside. So I'm always thinking, how do I prevent sickness? And I always claim health, which is one of the necessary ingredients to maintain a good health, right? So my thought is like, okay, what do I do to prevent sickness and live in health? So I drink my milk every night before I go to bed, and it makes me all nice and warm. But that milk causes me to believe that I'm putting a magic potion to make my digestive system strong. And I have faith that that works for me. And every morning I wake up healthy as can be. And I love it. It works for me, but it's a thought process. And in the book, James Allen wrote that people get sick because of what they think about. And he says, if you want to perfect your body, if you want to perfect your physical health, you have to guard your mind. King Solomon many years ago said, above all things, guard your hearts, for it is the wellspring of life. And I remember the first time I read that. He says, above all things, guard your hearts, for it is the wellspring of life. And I really wrestled with this idea of, what is guarding your heart? And that means guarding, obviously, health is one thing, but the heart is affected through thought. And he said, guard your mind. And if you would renew your body, beautify your mind. He says, thoughts of malice, envy, disappointment, despondency rob the body of its health and grace. A sour face does not come by chance. And if you're out there watching this and you happen to have a sour face, I don't know you, so please don't take offense. But think about this. Be challenged by this, but don't shoot the messenger. He says, it is made by sour thoughts. Wrinkles that mar the face are drawn by folly, passion, and pride. He says, wrinkles on your face are created by folly, which is foolishness, by passion, which can be misguidedness and going down a wrong direction. Passion can be obsessing over, a girl maybe that is just not into you. Passion can be obsessing over some of the internet sites, right? There's a lot of people who have addiction to internet sites, and they throw everything out the window, and they're so in depth into these passions. Drug addictions can be passions. And if you were to look at the people who are addicted to drugs, you're going to be able to see that they have a lot of wrinkles. Man, I got a lot of wrinkles, right? I mean, there are consequences to the actions that I took 5-10 years ago. And I've been sober for some time, but I suffered much damage on my body. But in my thoughts, I'm renewing of the mind, right? But it's witnessed that people who are worried have the signs on their face. And some of us age a lot faster because we're always so worried, and we're always so angry, we're always so depressed, we're always so caught up in what? It's our thoughts. Thoughts control our bodies. Thoughts control our bodies. Our bodies are slaves to thoughts. And mental illness, in most cases, especially if you were brought up healthy and later on ended up becoming sick, and you have felt or gone through a lot of rejection, a lot of anger, a lot of envy and jealousy, then you know that the jealousy can make you go crazy, right? The power that jealousy has over the body, right? I had a friend, and I write about it in my book, guys. I write about it in my book. I had a really good friend of mine, best friend, really, who became so obsessed and passionate about a girl that he started to just really go out there and to chase her down and to give up his job and to follow her in car chases and to do a lot of things that I never really thought were part of his life. But the way that jealousy, which are thoughts, controlled him, led him to a mind that couldn't deal with the fact that the girl he was so in love with was moving away from him and was finding somebody else. And it drove him sick. And you know what else? It drove him into jail. I believe he went for a year once and then ended up running into some more trouble over the same girl. Jealousy is a thought. When I'm talking about guarding our hearts, I'm talking about guarding our thoughts. So if you know somebody who's starting to fall into a mental illness, which can be a depression, anxieties, there's many faces to mental illness, then I want you to think about what exactly are they thinking about? Are they thinking about something that is causing them to retreat, to separate them, to isolate themselves? If you have a friend who used to hang out with you and then all of a sudden, they're gone and they're finding themselves spending a lot of time alone, that person is in danger of falling into some kind of obviously a depression, but even more than that. Now, you might not be able to do anything because you don't feel you're qualified. And if you are not qualified, then obviously use your own discretion, right? I cannot advise you to do anything. In my case, however, I'm not a licensed anything, but I have a lot of experience. And I have a lot of love for the people who I believe are most in need. And so I've learned to find techniques that help me to bridge the gap, to make people feel welcome, to draw people out of, that isolation they're going through. I wish I could go a little bit more into it, but I want you to think about the main takeaway of this time is that mental illness is really the inability to deal with life's challenges and to move forward on that. And if we were to teach people alone, at least before this happens, right? If we were to teach them to deal with life's challenges and train them and mentor them to learn how to deal with life and all the curves that it throws at us, then just in that preparation, we would be helping people prevent further deterioration or whatever might be at risk here in people's lives. Okay, so just do me a favor. Don't shoot the messenger. Until next time, my name is F. Dan Rivera, and thank you all for hearing me out in today's tip.